Good afternoon, and welcome to Football Fridays at the EC. My name is Mandy Kanukin, and I'm the Notre Dame Alumni Association Alumni Education Program Director. On behalf of the Notre Dame Alumni Association, I want to thank you for coming out and enjoying this beautiful Friday here on campus with us. You're about to get a very special treat, a sneak peek of a video that will air during halftime of tomorrow's football game. These very, very popular What Would You Fight For videos feature the incredible work that our faculty, students, and alumni do all over the world as a global force for good. After the video, I'm going to bring a couple of the stars of the video onto the stage here, and I'm going to do a quick interview with them. And I'm also going to open it up to each of you, if you have questions, to do a Q&A. We're live on the Alumni Association's Facebook page in here in a couple minutes, and I want to welcome everybody, and I hope you enjoy the video.
When I was just 3 years old, my sister and I were adopted from an orphanage in Ukraine.
There they are.
I love my family, and I could never have asked for a better one. But I've never been able to shake that feeling that I've been missing a part of myself.
In post-Soviet Ukraine, government corruption ran rampant. Religious and academic institutions faced enormous challenges, and democracy itself was not guaranteed.
I left a people on the verge of a revolution and had a completely different life than I would have otherwise.
Since 2003, Notre Dame's Nanovic Institute for European Studies has made a commitment to Catholic education in Eastern Europe, including the Ukrainian Catholic University.
During my sophomore year, Notre Dame gave me the opportunity to come to the Ukrainian Catholic University and share our educational values.
Over the last 15 years, Notre Dame's Catholic University partnership has helped to connect a half dozen East European Catholic universities.
Only 5 years ago, the revolution of dignity was met with deadly violence. I'm reminded every day why we need to stand up against corruption while working to prepare the next generation of leaders.
Right now, we live in a time of uncertainty, especially here in the shadow of the former Soviet Union.
We understand that the Iron Curtain could come down again. So we're working hard to build bridges among these universities that will help them speak truth to power.
Being here taught me how I can make a difference, allowing me to give back to the country of my birth.
The University of Notre Dame asks, what would you fight for?
Fighting for freedom of thought.
We are the Fighting Irish.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and I would like you to please help me welcome Professor Jim Mcadams and student Elly Bleier to the stage. I want to make some proper introductions for our guests today. So over here is Professor Jim Mcadams. Jim is the former director of the Notre Dame Nanovic Institute for European Studies and currently the William M. Scholl Professor of International Affairs. Yes? Yes. All right, we got it. And Elly Bleier. Elly is a junior now at the University of Notre Dame and past student of Professor Jim Mcadams. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
All right, so congratulations on a beautiful video. I'm curious, how are you guys feeling about watching it on the big screen during the game tomorrow?
I'm really excited. I'm going to get to be with my friends and watch it, and I think it's going to have a really good energy, and I'm really excited to be there with everyone that I know here.
And Professor Mcadams, you've been going to these games on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, since 1992, which is fairly good. Since 1992, which is a fairly good record as long as I'm in the country.
So how's it going to feel to watch this video?
I'm so excited about my 2-minute acting career. This is something that I have longed for all my life.
Got to put that mic right up there so they can all hear you. There you go. All right.
That's right.
So, Elly, can you tell us, as a junior here, what are you studying at the University of Notre Dame?
I study Russian and political science in the College of Arts and Letters.
Fantastic. And tell us about your experience so far. I know.
Yeah, Professor Mcadams always told us in class that college is like a peak, and now I'm on the downward slope of that peak. But really, my experience here has been really, really wonderful with great professors like Professor Mcadams, who are really student-centric and focus on the students and work to bring the spirit, the mission, the like open-mindedness and helpful spirit of Notre Dame out into the world. And people here, like Professor Mcadams, teach us how to do that in a really concrete way, and I don't think I could get that from anywhere else.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. So, Professor Mcadams, since the spotlight's back on you, you started this partnership 13 years ago as the director of the Nunavik Institute. So, why did you feel like it was important to approach Catholic universities, specifically in post-Soviet European, Eastern Europe?
Well, this was just a fantastic opportunity to internationalize Notre Dame in the most meaningful sense, because it's easy to talk about how we're a global university and we do lots of things all over the world, but what are those things? And in the case of these universities in Eastern Europe, they face challenges that are both fundamental to building democracy, but also fundamental to building Catholic institutions and Catholic higher education, which is something we deeply share in common with them.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about this partnership then. What's maybe the most tangible success that's come out of this?
I'd say the most tangible success is that we have been able to bring these universities together. This is Notre Dame's contribution, so that they can recognize the fact that they're all involved in the same kinds of challenges. These were universities in which their rectors had almost no contacts with each other, and universities that aren't that far apart in Poland and Slovakia and Ukraine and Hungary and among our other partners. And at the same time, the great benefit is for Notre Dame. It's easy to think about Notre Dame as, well, it's just this great beacon for Catholicism in the world, which is true, but it's not the case that you benefit necessarily by being the most powerful or the wealthiest or the oldest. It's also the case that every institution benefits when it is deeply challenged to maintain its identity. And that's the case with all of these universities. They're struggling for survival, and they're flourishing, and we can learn a lot from them.
So can you tell us then how the students benefit from this partnership, both here at the university but then at the other European universities?
Well, the great thing is we're increasingly sending students like Elly, our most talented students, to places like Ukraine, where they're teaching in summer schools and they're meeting Ukrainian students and offering what they can. We're also bringing educators from these universities to Notre Dame on a regular basis. We've brought over 100 of their faculty members and senior administrators to have sabbaticals, time for research, time to meet with our students at Notre Dame. So it's a truly reciprocal undertaking.
I'm sure it's an incredible experience for these faculty to be on this campus here and kind of see everything in action. It's got to be a pretty incredible, unique experience for them.
Well, we have a lot to be proud of.
Yes, we do.
And it's important that we offer it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Elly, just to pass the mic over to you, can you tell us a little bit about how this program fit into your studies and just kind of what kind of impact it had on you?
Yes, so Professor Mcadams suggested this program to me during my freshman year, and I went after my sophomore year. And at that point in time, I had no specific plans yet to go abroad. But after going to Ukraine and working with students there and understanding how Catholic education works in those countries and the impact it has on the students at the Ukrainian Catholic University are really proud of being Catholic. They're proud of actively not fitting into the system of corruption that is pervasive in most of the universities in Ukraine. And watching that and watching students my age, like myself, be so successful in such grim circumstances really made me believe that the stuff I can do and the stuff that people teach me here and the stuff I can share with people over there has a legitimate impact. And it's colored my education since.
That's fantastic. So while you were there at the Ukrainian Catholic University, it was a short time. Can you describe the difference between that university and the University of Notre Dame and maybe what similarities there are?
Yes. So the Ukrainian Catholic University, UKU, is a lot smaller than Notre Dame. It has about 1,000 students there. So everyone knows each other very intimately and very deeply. All of my students had very intimate personal connections among each other, and it was kind of like walking into a family, a much smaller family than here. But then coming back, I got to come and see a similar family back on this campus, a family, I think, strengthened by the spirit that I saw over there, because it's the same spirit. It's a spirit of Catholicism and of spreading educational values and of helping the world around them. There are so many students at UKU who are traveling into Eastern Ukraine to help victims of bombings and to help refugees in the eastern, more troubled parts of Ukraine. And getting to see those similarities was really, really wonderful because they have fewer resources than we do.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Now, from what I understand, this partnership now sits in the Keough School of Global Affairs, correct, Professor Mcadams? So can you tell us a little bit about how over the past, well, it began over a decade ago, how things have, the partnership has grown and how it's changed over the years?
Well, one of the most important things was to bring people together and identify who the leaders were of these universities, and to bring them together and create a sense of community, like Elly was describing, a sense of partnership. And in the beginning, we concentrated, and I think this is always important to do, on very practical questions, like how do you finance your university? How do you design your curriculum? How do you recruit faculty and students? And most importantly, how do you maintain your identity as a Catholic institution? And there was a lot we could learn from them. There was a lot they could learn from each other. I'll also add, you know, when I was first at the Ukrainian Catholic University and met these students, I immediately thought, these are just like my students at Notre Dame. They're wonderful people. They're sincere, they're smart, they're dedicated, they're faithful. And isn't it amazing that while life is fairly easy at Notre Dame for our students, the challenges are relatively small, globally speaking. At these universities, students were paying tuition in a country in which you do not normally pay tuition for education, and at an early stage, receiving degrees that were not even recognized by the state. So they were that convinced. And for me, this is one of the reasons why it's so valuable to get students like Elly and all the other ones whom we've had to go to these universities to see just what kinds of challenges people can face. And again, students who are much like the students that we find here at Notre Dame.
Well, speaking of the students here at Notre Dame, Elly, if you can tell us what's next for you. I know this past summer you were over in Russia. What's next for you? Do you plan to go back?
Yes, I am going to spend my spring semester in Russia, and then I hope to spend another year in Russia after I graduate working on my language skills, but I am always going to have a home in Ukraine. It's where I was born, it's where I came from, and really being there and seeing that mission there and understanding the skills that I can gain here at Notre Dame has given me a path and a way and a sight set on going back and helping the country that I feel like I have a responsibility towards. Because I'm lucky here, and because of Notre Dame and because of the Catholic spirit, I really feel the need to share that.
That's terrific. Well, I obviously wish you the best of luck, but you're not on the downswing. This is just the beginning. So I'm excited for you. And Professor Mcadams, you've just done incredible work. I don't want to end it here. I want to open it up to the floor, to the audience. If you guys have questions for Professor Mcadams or Elly, please feel free. We've got a couple of mic runners, one in the way back over there. And we've got another one right here, and the mic should be on, so feel free to ask any questions that you have. Raise your hand in the air, and we can go ahead and get a mic over to you.
Well, I'll start. Can you hear me?
We've got one question here. Go ahead and speak into the microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So one question I had was, Elly, you've been over there. Have other students, how many other students from Notre Dame have been there, and have any students from Ukraine come our direction to Notre Dame?
So I actually went there that summer with another one of Professor Mcadams' former students, George, and we went together, and it was really cool to have another Notre Dame kid there with me. We were a support system for each other. And no, I haven't heard thus far of at least any students from Ukraine that I know coming here. But there are students in Russia whom I've met who know about Notre Dame and are passionate about Notre Dame and do want to come here.
Very nice. Good.
And I would also add that this strange holding it like this. One of my dreams is to see Notre Dame make an even greater investment in Eastern Europe. This is a part of the world which is profoundly Catholic. It's a world that has institutions that are very much like ours in terms of our aims. What I'd love to see would be a Notre Dame study abroad program at the Catholic University of Lublin, Poland, for example, a university that's very much like Notre Dame. I'd like to see more of our students going to these universities, and then I'd like Notre Dame to think about developing ways of bringing Ukrainian students here in much the same way that we bring students from, say, Latin America.
Sure, absolutely. Do we have another one over here? Oh, we got another one over here. Feel free.
I have a question for Elly. Did you know about Notre Dame's connection with Ukraine before you came here, or did you just get connected with Professor Mcadams by happenstance?
Good question.
It was all happenstance, as my entire life has shown to be. We didn't even pick our classes my first semester freshman year. I was just put into Professor Mcadams' class. I had no idea that Notre Dame here did anything other than things in Russia and stuff with the Russian language. And Professor Mcadams opened this entire bridge for me back to the place where I was born.
Pretty incredible. You've talked a lot about Professor Mcadams and the impact he's had on your life. It looks like, Elly, is there another one over here? Another question? No? Okay.
No, but I could ask one more.
Okay. Go ahead.
You mentioned, Professor Mcadams, that the Nanovic Center is now part of the Keough School of Global Affairs. Can you talk to what that is, because it's relatively new, and has it changed your program in any way for it to have moved?
The Keough School is just one of the most fantastic developments at Notre Dame. It's a way of organizing all of our different international institutes to make an impact on the world, and to think concretely about ways in which we can use our strengths to better relationships with other people, with other institutions. So one thing I really hope for is to see more and more contacts with Catholic universities. We have a lot to offer them, but they also have a lot to offer us.
Terrific. Well, thank you both very much. I'm just so excited and proud that we had the opportunity to give you the sneak peek of something that you're going to enjoy from the bench tomorrow at the game, or from the comfort of your own home at halftime. So enjoy the video again tomorrow. If you see Professor Mcadams or Elly at the game, now you know them. Now you're connected to them. You have something else?
We have something we'd like to say.
Oh, sure.
Go Irish!
Awesome. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, I just want to say, make sure that you move over to the auditorium. We've got Chalk Talk with Bill and Bill. It starts at 1:30 on the dot. I also have some wonderful, as a thank you gift, some Notre Dame Alumni Association Christmas ornaments for you. Even though it doesn't feel like Christmas, I've got some nice ornaments to give you as a thank you. So thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And we'll see you next week for the next sneak peek of the What Would You Fight For video.